Hello everybody and welcome today to Phoenix Raceway here for race number 2 here of the WORC Short Track Showdown here deep in the valleys of the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Braison Collins. I'm going to be alone for tonight's event as my co-commentator will be on the racetrack here putting some laps in at Phoenix as the night sky begins to set here, and we are in qualifying right now. Let's get into some track info here. Phoenix Raceway is a 1 mile D-shaped oval. We are running the oval with the open dogleg configuration, so we'll see these guys diving down below that apron on the front straightaway tonight. Located in Avondale, Arizona. Altitude of 968 feet. And weather here is very cool for some reason. I'm not really sure why. This doesn't seem realistic. But the temperature is only 76 degrees. Maybe it's because it's getting dark out. I'm not really sure. But I'm definitely not used to the temperature being this low. Usually Phoenix is a little bit hotter. Track temp is only 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind speeds of 8 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies. And just past 7 p.m. local time here in qualifying. So as these guys have put their times in, and qualifying should be coming to an end soon as we have about a minute left. So we're going to see here if we can find anybody on the racetrack here. Looks like Ethan Harrison might be on the racetrack here. There he is. He's putting down a lap here down the back straightaway. Ethan goes through 3 and 4 here in the Ollie's Outlet 77. He will clock in 7th place on the grid. Josh Patterson, he's putting his laps in the number 6. He's clocked in 5th after his first lap. We have 8 drivers here tonight, so car count staying a little bit consistent between last week and tonight. Patterson through 3 and 4 got a little sideways there on exit. Doesn't look like he'll improve his lap time, and we will up to P4 on the charts. And so that'll do it for Josh Patterson there, and that'll do it for the end of qualifying here as we get set for 65 laps here, which is just about 66 miles with the little bit of extra room that the dogleg provides us here. Average lap time is looking to be about 26 seconds for tonight's event. Let's get into our starting grid here. Starting on the pole for today, presented by Dynamo Designs. Go check them out on iRacing for any paint scheme needs, starting at $5. Spec maps are $5 additional, and custom members are also $5 additional. So you can get yourself a nice looking paint scheme painted by Josh Patterson or myself, starting at just $5. Check us out here for iRacing paint schemes, logos, and pretty much any graphic design needs you may have, even if they are not iRacing related. Starting on the pole for today, Hunter Collier. To his outside, we have Ryan Martin. Row 2 inside, we have Pierce Maffitt. To his outside, Josh Patterson. Row 3 inside, we have Jay Mulder. And to his outside, we have Henry Klappert. And then rounding out the field, we're going to have Ethan Harrison and Garrett White. So, should be a fairly exciting race here, as we are here for the short track showdown here, presented by the World Online Racing Championship, race number 2. This is definitely going to be an exciting one here, as these guys will pace around 65 laps here, as it's still sunny here for the moment. Hunter Collier on the pole. Ryan Martin to his outside. Martin had a little bit of a rough run last week. Found himself in some early trouble. Came back to finish 6th in that one. Pierce Maffitt finished 2nd. Jay Mulder finished 3rd. Henry Klappert also was here last week. Green flag flies, and we are off here at Phoenix as these guys stay above the dogleg. Josh Patterson goes up the middle here, trying to take the lead early on. And an aggressive move from Patterson as they go through turns 1 and 2 here. Collier being tailed by Patterson. Patterson going to go for the dive early here. Patterson a little loose. Ryan Martin on the inside as well. Patterson's really loose in front of Ryan Martin. He's going to collect Martin, and that's going to be a lap 1 wreck. Martin is upside down. He will roll over on all 4s, and the caution will somehow not fly. that bunches up the rest of the field here. Martin, I'm not sure if he'll be able to continue or not, but that gives Hunter Collier a huge lead as somebody's around on the backstretch. That's Ethan Harrison. He's into Henry Klappert. And a chaotic first couple laps. Harrison's crab walking. He's out of the race probably. As, gotta say, all that chaos, that was definitely expected there. As, we'll try to pull up this replay here, see what happened between Henry Klappert and Ethan Harrison, see whose fault that was. So there's that contact between Patterson and Martin, which Martin honestly is saved by that. And then looks like Klappert lifted for the incident. And see right here, Ethan Harrison tagged the wall and came all the way down the track into Henry. So unfortunately for Henry Klappert, he was just kind of an innocent bystander there. But since Henry was involved, we have to bring out the coveted Henry cam, as you see there in the bottom right corner there. And we're going to get one last look at that incident from the perspective of Henry Klappert. So we'll try to get a look here once again at Henry Klappert, his perspective here. So here we are with the Henry cam. And that was the incident with Ryan Martin. Now we see Henry off the gas a little bit, being patient here. He goes through 1 and 2. And we'll see what happens here. I mean, it just looked like he had nowhere to go. Yeah, Harrison just didn't really hold the brakes off the wall and unfortunately just slid down, collected Klappert. And we'll have to see how bad that damage is, but unfortunately that might take Klappert out of this race early. And once again, I mean, he got taken out pretty early last week as well, so fortunate for him. As Collier paces the field, Maffitt second, Patterson back to fourth. That was Jay Mulder third. Ethan Harrison is disconnected. Henry Klappert staying out there, so it looks like his damage isn't too bad. As he's there on pit road. Ryan Martin's on pit road as well, so. We're going to bring in a co-commentator here. And so give us just a moment here. We're going to bring him in. We're going to have Limeade Media, Tyson Gifford, joining us here for the broadcast. Tyson, welcome to the booth, buddy.
Braison, how's it going, man? Glad to be in the booth here with you once again.
Glad to find a substitute because, well, Josh is on track putting some laps in as the field goes green. A couple guys still stuck on pit road after those incidents early on. Try to tag you in here, of course. Ethan Harrison, unfortunately. So Ryan Martin wrecked on the opening lap. Somehow kept it going, but he ended up in pit road. He's a couple laps down. And then Ethan Harrison just took out Henry Klappert. So down a couple cars there. Garrett A. White and Ethan Harrison have officially retired from the session. So we've got a good 4-car battle here for the lead, though, as Hunter Collier and Pierce Maffitt are side by side going into turn 1.
Yeah, I was up in the the driver's area, and they were all speaking, and I was hearing the commotion happening while it was going on. But I'm here in Indianapolis, the current substitute headquarters for Limeade Media for the rest of the month of May. Glad to be here. Got a very exciting opportunity that I'm working on. As Hunter Collier is still in the lead, Pierce Maffitt following
Patterson
behind.
Got loose.
Yeah, Josh has been complaining about the looseness of the car. I was keying in on the radio a little bit. Him and Jay Mulder saying, and especially Ethan Harrison as well, it was really loose sliding through turns 1 and 2. I mean, New Phoenix is really hard to comprehend. It's been like 5 years since they redid the track, and I still call 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and vice versa.
Honestly, I kind of do the same sometimes. It's I like Old Phoenix. The only thing I don't like about Old Phoenix on iRacing is that they put grass in the dogleg. So, I mean, you kind of lose the aspect of the dogleg, which is cool about New Phoenix. And New Phoenix also just, it feels wider and the banking's a little bit more and all that. But honestly, I don't think it's too bad as Patterson spins it out in the dog leg. He'll lock it up. That might be a yellow.
He'll
It
lock it
won't be a
up. Looks like he
yellow.
keeps it off the wall. Very good driving by Josh Patterson, the man who has never driven a lap in this car except for qualifying today,
Oh,
and the
Mulder
laps that you're
loose
seeing
down
here.
the back straightaway here. So that leaves a two-car battle here for the lead. As we're going to check in real quick on pit road. Ryan Martin and Henry Klappert both taking repairs after that lap 1 incident. Unfortunately for Ryan Martin, I mean, um, he really didn't do anything wrong. Patterson got loose and collected him. And then Henry Klappert, he didn't really do anything wrong either. Harrison slid down the track after tagging the wall and unfortunately took out Klappert. So, I mean, but it seems like both weeks, I mean, there might have been a little bit more that Klappert could have done at USA, but for the past 2 weeks, they've both been kind of taken out early on because of issues like that. And fortunately, or unfortunately for them, Pierce Maffitt and Jay Mulder, who were also here last week, having themselves another 2-3 run, which is exactly where they finished last week as well, as Maffitt trails Hunter Collier here and got a little loose there down the back straightaway, lost a little bit of ground. As the tires wear, though, it'll be interesting to see what changes with these guys. As Patterson kind of taking some laps in on his own at the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned being out of the control for the other drivers with the incidents happening, and honestly, that's a part of racing. A lot of people like to put blame on drivers and such for incidents, but 99% of the time in racing, I've seen it myself. I've seen it in the car. I've seen it as a spectator. I've seen it as a sponsor. 99% of the time, it's not their fault. It's just a racing deal, and there's only very rarely a certain case where someone could have done something else, and that's when penalties come into play. There's stupid drivers, but for the most part, I mean, that stuff happens, especially lap 2 on a very loose track. It seems like in a car that's somewhat difficult to handle when you start to lose the tires, when the car starts to lose out from underneath, and when you start to lose a handle of it, it just snaps around, and that's just something that nobody can do, and unfortunately it takes people with you. And I mean, we saw it with Josh Patterson. Thankfully there's nobody there near him to make it a bigger incident, but he just lost the handle of the car. Even an experienced driver such as Josh Patterson, an experienced driver as Ethan Harrison, somewhat experienced driver as Henry Klappert, those things happen, and you just got to go along with the ride.
Yeah, and it sucks because a guy like Ryan, he got his first career win last week at the ironically named Henry Klappert Spring Fling, and Henry is still chasing that first career WORC win. So is Jay Mulder as well, and these are three guys who've put in a lot of races, and you'd think the more races they run, the more opportunities they'd have to win these races. And especially for a guy like Jay Mulder, he's come very close. In fact, I've myself have stolen wins from Jay right here at Phoenix. So, um, you just gotta wonder like what things could these guys do differently to win these races. Oh, Jay Mulder just spun. Maybe. No, he just got loose. Okay. That was close for Mulder. Um, but yeah, a lot of times these guys just get involved in incidents where there wasn't a lot they could do, and sometimes one guy, it's kind of like in school, that old saying when your teachers would say, if one person does one thing, um, like the one bad apple ruins it for the rest of the class. And that's kind of how it is with wrecks and racing most of the time because depending on how the wreck starts, a guy could hit the wall and bounce off of it and clip another guy, and there goes a big wreck. And that one little incident off the wall could cause a chain reaction. And that's pretty much what just happened there with Henry and Ethan. Ethan clipped the wall, and there was nowhere to go for Henry. And then with Josh and Ryan, Josh got loose in front of Ryan and unfortunately slid up into Ryan and collected him. And luckily for Ryan and Henry, they can get that damage repaired as we see both of them still on pit road. Honestly, I'm not really sure who's going to have more time on pit road uh, with the damages, but they've both been in their boxes for 8 minutes now. So unfortunately for those guys, they're going to miss probably about half of this race here as these guys are keeping it green and clean right now. Jay Mulder's been really loose, though, down the back straightaway.
Yeah, like I mentioned when I said I was keying into the drivers, listening to their radios, that's what's been the main thing, that this track is going to get loose and it's going to stay loose. If a racetrack starts loose And with the tire wear of these cars, it's just going to get looser and looser, man. And if you're losing it off of the corner in like lap 20, who's to say that when you've got bald tires at lap, 45, 50, 55, 60, when you're just pushing as hard as you can, who's to say that that little looseness off the corner of you feeling alive, feeling that little rush of adrenaline, who's to say you won't save it? You'll just go right into the wall. So it'll be a very interesting thing to keep note of, to see the talent level of the drivers, to see if they're able to still push the car as hard as possible with the tires wearing more and more as the race progresses on. And even somebody could take a gamble. 4 cars here. Ryan Martin, as we see back out on track, only got 4 cars on the lead lap. Somebody could take tires, and then somebody could lay in the back, see if somebody makes a mistake and brings out a yellow.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it. Josh Patterson nearly caused one sliding on in the dog leg, and we've seen Jay Mulder get loose a couple times. So, I mean, but Josh Patterson right now, I mean, he's banking on a yellow. He's banking on Pierce or Hunter making a mistake, and um, these guys should have enough fuel to run to the end, so pitting won't be an issue. But if they do pit, there is a set of tires laying for these guys, and that could be a crucial factor too, because you get a caution, and it'll come down to if these guys decide that they like the tires or not. But as you mentioned, once a track is loose, especially as the nighttime comes, because a track gets a lot faster in the night, and it's just gonna stay loose. And luckily, the track isn't gonna be really warm with the sun beating down on it, but should still be a fairly slidey track, as we see Pierce Maffitt right there slide down the back straightaway as well. And we saw him do that a few times last week at USA from the lead. When there was a really good battle there for the lead. There was probably about 6 or 7 cars that were fairly close together last week, but Phoenix is a lot bigger track than USA, a lot more room for the mistakes, and unfortunately when half the field kind of has issues in lap 1, then you're kind of stuck with something like this. As Ryan Martin is probably going to hang on to his finishing position here tonight because Henry is still on pit road, so we'll see if Henry pulls out or not with whatever damage he's got. As Collier still paces the field, he's pulled to a 2-second lead here over Pierce Maffitt. And Jay Mulder must have spun because he's back here now with Josh Patterson, and Ryan Martin's closing in as well, and we may have a battle for third going on.
Yeah, nice little battle for third between 2 teammates right here. That's Josh Patterson and Jay Mulder. A new development. I don't know if that's been formally announced or whatnot.
Oh, it has, yeah.
Jay Mulder officially joining Dynamo Racing, powered by Limeade Media. And Josh Patterson, Jay Mulder. I mean, these 2 drivers, really formidable drivers, honestly. Say what you want about Jay Mulder not having any WORC wins, but
he's a good driver. He's always very consistent.
I would argue that Jay Mulder is probably one of the most consistent drivers in WORC. I'd say top 5 most consistent drivers in WORC, and him not winning. I mean, it's like saying that Barkley never won a ring, but Barkley was really consistent throughout his career. If he had that ring, maybe it would boost his repertoire a little more. But at the same time, you can't knock on Charles Barkley for what he did in his career, and I can't knock Jay Mulder. I mean, me being his team owner or not, I can't knock Jay Mulder for what he's done currently throughout his WORC career. And first win coming sooner or later, or never. You never know. I mean, that's a part of racing. You could never get your first win. It took Michael Waltrip 593 races to get his first career win in NASCAR, and that was the 2001 Daytona 500. So, very consistent driver here with Jay Mulder. Even if he did have a little spin earlier, that's still a P4 position. Having finished, top 3 last week, that's still very good in the point standings.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jay's consistency, and Josh and I talked about it on the broadcast last week at USA. Entering USA, Jay Mulder, in his last 9 official races on iRacing, so these aren't league races, these are you load up into a C fixed or a B fixed or whatever. He ran a variety of races, from dirt road to dirt oval to he ran everything. In his last 9 official races, 7 of them were P2 finishes. The other 2 finishes were 3rd and 4th. So, I mean, we had a little joke about it that Jay just really somehow is allergic to winning, but man, is he really consistent. And we talked about it because obviously a series like this isn't like a, win and in NASCAR type series where winning benefits you. It's run it to the end, point by point. So the consistency matters. Like Pierce right now, he got second last week. He's second right now. As long as Pierce doesn't make a mistake, he's gonna have the points lead after tonight with last week's race winner Logan Pugh not being in attendance. So heading into the LA Coliseum next week, it's going to be a whole different race next week. Honestly, I feel like we might have our highest car count next week. The LA Coliseum is a really fun track, and it's going to be a really chaotic track, and obviously it's such a different racing atmosphere compared to where we are now at Phoenix. There's a lot, I mean, right here, it's a wide track. There's a lot of on throttle time. There's a lot of separation right now between these drivers, but LA Coliseum, we're not going to see one guy as far ahead as we see Hunter Collier ahead of Pierce Maffitt right now, or Josh Patterson ahead of Jay Mulder. These guys are, ooh, Ryan Martin gets really loose there down the backstretch. These guys are going to be putting on a show next week at LA, and honestly, from a third-person perspective, what would your prediction be for next week at LA?
It's going to be interesting at LA because that's a track that added onto the iRacing service, became really popular really quickly just because it's LA. The pop and pageantry, all of that. I mean, the Coliseum is badass. You can't lie. It might have been a weird gimmick, but it was still badass. That was awesome seeing NASCAR there. And it's going to be awesome seeing these cars here. And it's either going to be a really, really, really good race. If Logan Pugh returned, I think it'll be a 4-car battle between. If Patterson races, it'll be a 5-car battle. I think it'll be Patterson, Mulder, Pierce Maffitt, Hunter Collier, and Logan Pugh. Like that will be your top 5, and then Ryan Martin will have bad luck at some point, unfortunately. It'll be a really good battle, and then we'll see cautions dictate the end of the race. That'll be my prediction. I don't want it to be my prediction because I want to see a really good, fun, clean race, but that's my prediction.
And I've seen a couple league races at LA Coliseum so far, and one of our sister leagues, Visco Car. Obviously, they are a lot more relaxed of a league, and they had an absolute barn burner at the LA Coliseum. So, Ryan Martin gets loose in the dog leg. What a save.
And that was the
Anyways,
same sort of thing that Patterson did right there, except
yeah,
Martin really saved it
saved it.
there.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Visco Car had an absolute barn burner there at the LA Coliseum. If I remember correctly, it was the wheel and modified. So, um, yeah, I've heard that LA's had some fun races in another league that I know of, the Misfits Racing League. They did their All-Star race at LA, and I heard that was a little shady. But obviously, I've seen a few races where there's some clean racing in like hosted races at LA, and then I've seen some official races where you've got guys hundreds of miles off pace compared to everyone else. Like they look like they're driving lawnmowers out there compared to some of those guys. So obviously hoping for the best here, and I mean, we had some lap one shenanigans today, which obviously has kind of cleaned up the field a little bit and made it a little more single file, a little less racy. But last week we had a decent amount of cautions, but it was still pretty racy as the yellow flag is out and somebody's flipping. That is Josh Patterson, who just flipped. Well, we're gonna
That's one.
we're gonna pull up the WORC
That's
replay.
well, that's one thing I was going to make a note of Josh Patterson about. If he's not taking it 100% serious, then he's going to end up flipping at some point. And it looks like he got really loose. Oh yeah, just lost control of the car, and then iRacing does what iRacing does, and the incredible physics model of this service sends him cheese grating into the catch fence.
And now he is crab walking it. Talk about that's realistic because Denny Hamlin did that earlier at the Daytona 500. I think it's Patterson having a hard time driving that thing here, getting it back going. Patterson is still out on the track, so
But yeah, in more serious terms, as he loses it onto pit road, I mean, with a really hard handling car and him crab walking already, that kind of thing, he's probably very frustrated at this current moment. But
I bet he's laughing it off right now.
yeah, but what happened was as I was looking through that, I mean, it was probably the same sort of thing as earlier where he spun, except he saved it, overcorrected, and then just went right back up into the wall. And with these open wheel cars at ovals, on asphalt ovals, the open wheel cars, specifically the modified, specifically these ones, Indy cars don't really do it. When your side tires rub against the wall, it moves your car upwards along the wall, and it basically rolls you to the side, and then you just start, cheese grating and flipping along the side. So once you hit that wall and the force that it hit him into the wall bounced them up a little bit, the wheels started turning. They were turning along the wall. Physics in real life say that you shouldn't do that, but physics in video games say, oh, moving upwards? Okay, cool. Moves them upwards, puts them in the fence.
Yeah, and man, I I loved watching Josh Patterson. Just it looked like he was gliding down pit road right there. As we see Ryan Martin, he's getting tires put on that thing. Um, Henry Klappert is probably going to chill on pit road for the rest of this thing. So Ryan might actually be able to snag fourth right here because if Josh has the same amount of repairs that Ryan had when they both flipped, then that should be interesting. So Ryan does have time to get laps back on Josh. He is 14 laps back on Josh at the moment. So we'll see how that works out. But Hunter Collier, I don't know if you wanted to see that caution because with Pierce Maffitt, Jay Mulder close behind him, both of those guys have excuses to drive it in harder. And um, all these guys
Honestly,
have
this,
hit for tires. So everyone's on the fresh set right now.
this is going to be a very intriguing battle between Pierce Maffitt and Hunter Collier because these two very good friends, very close online friends, and did happen to talk a little bit of smack pre-race, as they always do. And one probably has screenshots of another saying something very interesting if they do happen to wreck each other for the win and or if one beats another. So it's going to be interesting. Who has the worst screenshot and who has the balls to do it? I mean, we have 20 laps to go, I believe. Yeah, it'll be 21 at the line to go. With Hunter Collier on the inside, Pierce Maffitt on the outside, Jay Mulder on the outside. 3 cars on the lead lap, Josh Patterson on pit road. Braison, I tell you what, this is going to be either a very interesting or a very not interesting last 20 laps.
Well, the middle portion of this race has probably been far from interesting at the moment, so we'll see how this works out. Hunter Collier takes the lead here. Maffitt and Mulder dive down deep in the dogleg here. Maffitt's actually going to take the lead here as Collier lost a lot of ground there side by side, and Jay Mulder lurking in the background here. We'll see if he can do anything as the third car in this battle as Collier gets to run off the top. Collier gets the wall! He's going to attack Pierce Maffitt! Oh, Maffitt's going to attack Mulder!
They all wreck coming out of
the field.
I was going to say, watch the run from the 98, and he got the run out of the corner and then just couldn't hold on to it. That's the whole field. I believe everybody's going to have like 4 minutes, 5 minutes of repairs. Mulder thought he had it going, tried to skirt back up to the top side, missed it. Man, that really stinks. It looks like Mulder's crab walking.
Yeah, Mulder's crab walking. Collier's gonna head down pit road. I don't think we've ever been in this position before, but Ryan Martin and Ethan Harrison's back on track now. Harrison just took a position from Henry Klappert, and Ryan Martin has a clean car. If these guys have to get repairs done, then is Ryan Martin gonna win? Like
So that's 15 laps for Ryan Martin. So realistically, we have reset the field. We're back at lap 30.
That's what it feels like. Oh, Jay Mulder is still out there crab walking. Is Jay gonna win this race crab walking?
Here's the thing. This is a risk that Jay is willing to take to get. I mean, if this is a way that he gets his first WORC win, then I'm all here for it. Henry has returned to the field, realizing that everybody else has died.
Oh my goodness, the field is resetting here. There's gonna be an interesting race.
All right, so let's set the field here. Pierce Maffitt, Hunter Collier, they're on pit road. They're doing the smart thing. They're getting their repairs. I'm going to say at least 5 minutes of repairs, maybe more. Jay Mulder is the technical leader here, crab walking. Should have a meatball. It looks like it's drivable. However, if he loses it once out of the corner, Jay needs to run the slowest race possible.
I'm sorry. Henry. We're gonna no. That's a Henry Cam moment. We're gonna pull up the replay. Henry Cam is on. Oh my God. I don't. All right. Here's Henry. I believe this is after. Oh yeah, there we go. There's the spin. We're gonna go cockpit camera here. Henry Cam. How did he do it? How? I I I don't know how he did it, dude. I am
I'm
flabbergasted.
speechless. Yeah, I'm
That is
speechless.
Henry to a T. Um,
So
yeah,
Mulder's still out there, crab walking.
Maffitt and Collier are on pit road.
Yeah.
Mulder's out
So
there. Pace truck lights are still on.
Mulder needs to run basic one of the most perfect races of his life up to this point. I would honestly imagine he has left his call and he is deafened or he's about to, because if he screws up once, if he hits the wall once, that car's dead. It's totaled. It's done. He doesn't have any more time left. And then we have fourth place, Ryan Martin, 15 down. Ethan Harrison, I believe he's 17 down. And then Henry Klappert is Henry Klappert, who is somehow starting
Second, I don't know what led to
second.
this. I guess Ryan was the lucky dog. Um,
So Ryan Martin's 16 down. Harrison's 40 down. Henry is 42 down. And
so
Josh Patterson is still on pit road, but he's 8 down. So if Josh somehow gets his repairs done, then he's back in it, question mark. But let's not discount this. Jay Mulder is your leader, the only person on the lead lap with a crap walking car. We're about to get underway.
we'll see if Jay can survive. Green flag is out. Jay is making an attempt.
I mean, he has Henry behind him. That doesn't bode well
Jay
at
is
all.
still slightly not slow. I mean, he's getting passed, but he's keeping a pace here. So he's got to run 16 laps here. He's got 3 laps on Collier and Maffitt, who are on pit road. Ryan Martin, meanwhile, he can benefit from all this. He can get second, and we've got a race here between Harrison and Klappert. As Harrison peeked to the inside, he gets a little loose there. And he's still fighting a loose race car there. Ryan Martin trying to be careful, and Henry Klappert is theoretically leading a field right now.
So Ryan Martin, depending on how long Josh Patterson has, which honestly I'd say Josh is out for the rest of the race, Ryan Martin can put himself into fourth place after 10 laps. So Patterson's 10 down and Martin is 15 down. So in 5 laps, Martin will pass Josh for fourth place.
And Henry goes way up the racetrack there, doesn't want to even chance the dog leg. Here comes Harrison with a run.
He's running Old Phoenix, man.
Henry sees grass in the
Actually,
infield.
that's a huge run that Henry
Oh,
had
hey,
out of the
Ethan got the
dog leg.
wall! Oh my
Oh,
God,
no.
Ethan is flipping. Alta 4, Ethan, Alta 4. No caution.
No yellow
No
as
yellow. That is exactly
let's
what
check
Ryan
in on
needed.
Mulder. Let's
That's
check in on Mulder. Let's see how he's doing. He's just slowly going.
he is vibing right now.
The wheel is cranked. The wheel is cranked to the left on the straightaways.
Jay's last lap time was a 32.941. Um, Ryan, meanwhile, he has 3 laps till he passes Josh Patterson on track. He's going to race Henry here and put on a show for us, as Henry's still trying not to run the dog leg and is still not necessarily the slowest. Oh, here he goes. He's going to try to get in line here with Ryan.
The thing is, these cars they seem like they aren't down on horsepower. They have a lot of horsepower, but they're just so slow to the point where you have to run the dog leg, even if it is risky for somebody like Henry, even if it does give you a good run out of the corner. It's only because that you ran the banking.
And
Like that's
Ryan's getting a lap back on Jay right now. Sorry to interrupt you. I just noticed that Jay is on the apron trying to stay out of the way. He is just trying to survive right now. For his first career WORC win, what a way to do it. Definitely the most unique way to win your first race.
oh, don't jinx it, because if I like I said, it's entirely possible somebody loses it, James loses it, and then that's his race. He's still got 11 laps to bucker down, be calm, run a clean race.
Oh, he is struggling.
That car is just very rough to drive.
Jay is fighting for it. Ryan has just peaked up into P4 here. 6 laps here, and Ryan can get it into P2 depending on how long the damage is for Hunter and Pierce. I heard 6 minutes. They've been in their boxes for 6 minutes, so I don't think Ryan will quite get there on them. But, man, if he even had a chance at it. And Henry might have a chance to get P5 here, depending on how long it takes Mulder to get these 10 laps in. But Henry did pass Ethan back on the racetrack, so that's good for Henry to get back out there, get some points. He's in the championship running as well.
This only just pays dividends towards Ryan Martin as well as Jay Mulder. Two people that are very consistent. As I mentioned, took a while for them for Ryan Martin to get his first win. He's still a very consistent driver, and I think it's going to be intriguing to see how the championship battle plays out. And Hunter Collier and Pierce Maffitt, they're two very good drivers.
They were the 1-2 for the whole race.
If they keep this up throughout the remainder of the season, a very short season, I think it'll be a pretty good championship battle, especially going into next week. Like I mentioned, LA Coliseum. I think it'll be a 5 or 6 car battle for the win. And if Mulder pulls through to get his first victory through the adversity, I think that he's going to be gunning for a real win, because he's going to be thinking that, this wasn't a real win, or somebody might say it. I won't.
Jay's definitely not going to think this is a real win. I know Jay's mentality. He's definitely going to be very negative about this, but I mean, I got to give him props. He was the only guy who stayed out there. I mean, the other 2 cars were drivable. Hunter and Pierce drove their cars onto pit road. I did give admin permission to clear the black flags for the penalties that most people would get. So on iRacing, there's these flags that are very much belovedly known as meatball flags. And Hunter Collier's out of pit road, so Ryan unfortunately won't get to second. But the meatball flag is a black flag that says you have too much damage, you got to come pit. And after a certain amount of laps, it'll DQ you. I gave the go-ahead to race control to clear those black flags. Hunter and Pierce went down to take their damage. Jay didn't. So, I mean, Jay's the guy who benefits out of this whole thing here. And Ryan is on the same lap as Pierce Maffitt right now. And so, I mean, Ryan has a chance to get third here, maybe. Depends how hard he wheels that thing. But this is going to be a long 5.5 laps here for Jay Mulder, who is just slowly inching his way around the racetrack here, as he pulls down under the apron here to let Hunter Collier go.
And I mean, we were saying that, Jay's mentality, he might say, oh, this isn't a real win. I would argue against it. I mean, purely because
he's had to drive this thing for the past 20 laps.
Yeah, but in racing, you've got to make strategy calls. You've got to make calls that will evidently win you the race. We thought that we'd be watching Ryan Martin wheel himself back, like unlap himself back into a race, or unlap himself back into race contention, but currently he's not.
Oh my goodness, caution is out. It's Henry.
Oh no. This changes a lot of things. I don't know how much it changes, but it still changes quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll see what happened here with Henry, as he was just making his laps around the track, got a little loose, got the inside wall and spun. So
that's something I'd like to call a little an issue of skill.
This race may end under caution, which would work out for everyone, I think, if it did. But they may go back green as well.
What is it with races at Phoenix?
Oh, Pierce just hit Jay. Gave him a little bumper there. I'm not sure what that was about. So Ryan is racing for a podium here with Pierce. That's going to be a battle to keep an eye on. Hunter Collier solidified himself P2 here, unless he pulls off the track. So Pierce and Ryan are going to be battling it out here. I believe we do have the 2 green-white checkered set up, but I mean,
I'd like to see this battle for the podium, honestly. I'd like to see
yeah,
this go.
because I believe Ryan's car, it looks a lot better than Pierce's. Ryan's car doesn't really show the damage on it, whereas Pierce's, you can see on the front end that he does have some significant damage. As you see, Ryan's car looks fairly clean. So,
So look, it looks like Ryan Martin is 4th, 1 lap behind the 41. So he's going to have to unlap himself from Jay and then hope that another Henry caution comes out very quickly if we do have a green-white checkered. And then contend for 3rd place.
well, we've talked about it for quite some time. Jay Mulder can't win. He's going to have to do something ridiculously stupid here to lose this one.
I sure hope those aren't famous last words. I sure hope those are not famous last words.
Well,
That's all I'm
Jay, I
saying.
mean, he's pacing really well. Jay right now as an admin, he's probably going to sit there and he's got the extend caution hotkey ready. He's going to make sure this thing doesn't get a green white checkered finish. He wants this thing to end now. Hopefully he doesn't do that. But these guys do have permission to shorten this caution, the amount of laps run under it. So we'll see if they did. So if they did shorten it, it would be 1 to go right here. Pace truck lights would be out. And they are out. So we are going to go green this time by. Jay Mulder has to make 2 laps. Ryan Martin and Pierce Maffitt are in a battle for 3rd.
Very
So
interesting battle for 3rd.
Martin lines up ahead of him, but Pierce is still scored ahead of him.
Yeah, Martin's a lap behind him.
Yeah, so I mean, this is gonna be a weird finish. This is definitely the weirdest race in WORC history. Pierce kind of pulled to the inside of Jay right there. Jay is slowly making his way around here.
So you said that Jay was pacing really well. The thing is, I think Jay's going full throttle.
That's probably as close to full throttle as he can get. Yeah. Well, off of 4, they'll fire it off on the command of Jay, who is gonna just dip down to the apron. He wants no part of it. 2 laps to go. Ryan trying to stay ahead of Pierce and probably hoping
Big
for one more
wiggle from the
caution.
51 going through the dog leg. He really had to try to keep it saved.
Yeah, he's trying to use the apron to help him turn here as he's clearing back up the racetrack here. Martin and Klappert are kind of battling it out here as Henry getting some laps in these sprint cars. He is loose! Good save by Henry there as he'll head to the top of the dogleg. He comes back down. He's still loose again. Well, Henry definitely needs the laps in these things because he's going to have fun at LA. But all eyes right now are on Jay Mulder limping around the racetrack. Hunter Collier and Pierce Maffitt went and took their required repairs. Jay Mulder said, I can finish this thing. He's out there. Wheel is cranked like 30 degrees to the right. He's going through pit road. He is going to pit road.
Oh, no. What? Oh, he might have got... What?
I don't... If Jay pulls into his box, the race is not over. If Jay pulls into his box, the race is not over. He's not going to pull into his box. I don't know if he had a drive-through or something, but we'll see here.
He might have had a drive-through because he pulled down.
I'm not sure, but he crossed the line. He won the race. That's it. Jay Mulder won. Hunter Collier P2. Pierce got P3 out of that. as these guys are still finishing their last lap. But there's your race winner. I have many words that I want to say, but I also have a lack of words. Well, let's see if he can do a burnout in that thing. I mean, the wheels are not straight at all.
Wheel.
Jay is trying to get a burnout in. You know, as much as he was fighting to spin that car around, now when he actually has to spin it out, it doesn't want to do anything. He's trying. There we go. Jay's going to get the burnouts in there. And
Oh
that
gosh,
thing's
that thing's
actually,
really intense.
it's doing some burnouts right now. I mean, that damage is probably helping him with the celebration. But Jay Mulder finally wins his first ever WORC race on the weirdest strategy ever in literally the weirdest race ever. That's how you do it, I guess. I don't know why Pierce is burning it out, but Jay Mulder wins, and we will be right back here, folks, after this commercial break. The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready. This is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Gotta be careful. The bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner. All right, everybody, welcome back here from commercial break. We're going to be joined here by our race winner, Jay Mulder. Jay, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, between Tyson and I, none of us expected that. You ran top 3 early on that long run, and then made a mistake and fell back to 4th, and then Josh wrecked, and then you guys had that restart, and then Hunter wrecked you guys. And we thought we didn't know how that race was going to come out. I mean, Ryan Martin was on track like 15 laps down, and so yeah, ultimately you crab walked your way to the win here today, several laps ahead of Hunter Collier in second place, who went in to take his repairs. Um, Piece it together for me. What led to you staying out and them coming into pit road?
Well, I mean, fun race beforehand. Car, I don't know, something weird happened going to the apron that one lap and it spun around on me. And I don't know if the car broke something or just killed the tires after that happened because the car just drove terrible after that. And that's why I lost so much time. But Josh ended up wrecking. We were looking at green flag pit stops actually before that. But Josh wrecked and so we had that caution, then we had the restart, and we were racing good. Pierce and I raced really good last week, but then I forget what exactly happened. Someone got loose and hit the other and just pinballed off the walls, and there's no room for anyone to get through there, and that'll happen, but yeah, and then the car was killed, everyone had meatballs, and the next car was, what, 15 laps down, which was Ryan, so there's that. Um, But then with the black flags that we had for damage, I was told by the admin team to clear it, and like the league owners and stuff. So I did what I was told with that, but I don't know. And then drove around the track, finished the race, I guess. But I don't know. It doesn't really count. I don't know, and nobody else will think it counts. So that who cares? I don't know.
It was a very interesting race, and I'm going to ask you a question about the handling of the car pre-incident. I was hearing a lot of things about how loose the car really was, especially in the apron and the on the dog leg. That seemed to be the place where the problem areas were happening. Were there any other problem areas on the track, or what seemed to be the issue with cars just losing it going onto onto the dog leg?
It was it was really tight for me all race. Only on corner exit, if I mashed the gas, it would get loose. But otherwise, I just couldn't turn. But I don't know. It was fun racing before that. These cars are pretty fun. They're tough to drive, but it's just I don't know. There's not a lot of guys here. Half the field wrecks early on, and then we kind of wreck on the restart there, and I don't know. But that's racing, I guess.
Well, Jay, before we let you go, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
But I mean, all my partners, sponsors, team, and stuff. Tyson, of course. Team owner, Dynamo Racing, Josh Patterson, you, Braison, for putting the league on, and as well for the broadcast tonight. And yeah, everyone that supports me. So thank you guys.
All right, Jay, we will see you around. We're going to drag in P2 Hunter Collier now, but congratulations, Jay. Hunter, we're going to drag him in now. Hunter, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of a differing strategy there, but we're going to focus on your positives for tonight's race. You took the pole and led the first 44 laps, or I don't know if you led all the first 44 laps, but you did lead 44 laps tonight. Ultimately came home second tonight. What did you like about the car track early on that led to you being the fastest one out there?
On the long runs, it was fun at least. Not really much to say, to be honest.
Well, yeah, we did have that long run there early on, and definitely single filed out the field, and unfortunately we didn't really get to see how it played out. Run me through that wreck late in the race on the restart. Josh Patterson wrecked, and then on the ensuing restart, you and Pierce Maff and Jay Mulder all got collected. I mean, what happened in that wreck? Just get loose off the corner on the fresh tires, or what do you think led to that wreck?
Got tight because Pierce moving up the track, lost talent, hit the wall, and spun into him.
All right, well, before we let you go, Hunter, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
Nope, I got no sponsors. All right, thanks, Braison.
I
Yeah.
thank you, Hunter. Thank you for racing.
Yeah, thank you for racing. Hopefully next week things are a little bit different, and we'll have you here next week as well.
Thanks, Braison.
That was Hunter Collier who got P2 there. We're gonna bring in P3 here, running at the podium, Pierce Maffett. Pierce, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yes.
Well, yeah, early on in the run, you kind of singled yourself out in the second place, and then we're kind of just cruising around there. What were your thoughts on the long green flag run? I know it was probably a little boring, but did you like how the car felt as the run went longer, or did you prefer the car more on like fresher tires?
I definitely think I preferred the car on longer tires. It's nice that we could have that long green flag run, and it's a shame that came to an end, but I definitely felt like I had the speed to finish second, so shame.
Well, you still at least came home third here to round out the podium. You start the season off with back-to-back podiums. What are you looking forward to next week at LA?
How honest do you want me to be, Braison?
PG.
I hope Jay goes into the grandstands, because if he thinks he's win the championship off of that bullshit, he's got another thing coming.
All right, well, definitely not mincing words on the 51, although it definitely sounds like you were mincing words on the 51. Before we let you go, Pierce, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I just want to give big big shout out to D's Nuts, my sponsor on the car this week, and yeah, besides them, no, not really anyone. Kind of just me out here in this series.
Well, before we let you go, we're gonna let our sponsor, Limeade Media, here in the booth, Tyson, ask you a question here. Tyson, throw something at Pierce here.
Well, Pierce, honestly, I'd like to say you're really setting yourself up as a formidable championship contender. And regardless of the J finish or not, I gotta say you finished second, you finished third. I'm hoping that you finish P1 next week. You know, how did the car? How have you liked the car throughout the season this year? Just by a car standpoint, how has it been like to drive?
I've always really loved these cars. I mean, they're a nightmare to drive, but that's what makes them fun. They're trying to kill you at every possible moment, so it definitely fits into my driving style. I'm not quite as fast in them as I remembered, but I haven't really driven them in a year and a half maybe, so um, yeah, hopefully I keep these good finishes up. I do not own either the Coliseum or Five Flags though, so I'm a bit worried about that.
Well, hopefully you come up with the funds for those. We might have to start a GoFundMe for you to keep this championship run coming. But yeah, once again, thanks for showing up, Pierce, and hopefully you're able to buy LA and show up here next week.
Oh, I'll buy it. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the fact that I've never driven the track before, so I'll probably be really slow.
It's full throttle, I promise.
Okay, I'll take your word on that.
Professional
Full
driver
throttle
tip.
into the 51. I didn't say that.
All right, well, thanks for showing up, Pierce. We'll see you next week at LA and see if you can continue this championship run here.
Thanks, Braison.
All right, guys, that was Pierce Maffey to finish P3, and that will ultimately do it here tonight for us here from WORC TV. As thank you to Limeade Media and Tyson Gifford for joining us here. If you guys are a fan of some of the graphic work that's been posted on our Instagram, or just graphic work in general, or photos or videos or any cool stuff, Limeade Media does pretty much all of it. Go check them out on Instagram at Limeade Media, and go check out their subsidiary accounts as well at Limeade Graphics and at Limeade Film. Well, Tyson, before I let you go, do you have anything you want to finish us off with?
Well, honestly, this was a really fun race to watch just by, not as a racing fan perspective, but more of a racing, like how I am involved in racing, the technical aspect of it. I've seen basically every side of racing, and I really enjoyed how the drivers, I couldn't see the emotion, but I could definitely tell how much they were struggling to keep a handle on the car, how they said, some people said it was tight, some people said it was loose, some people said it was both, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the racing. And honestly, I can't wait for the LA Coliseum, not only because it's a very fun track, as I mentioned about like 5 times during the broadcast, but I'm also very interested to see if Jay Mulder will in fact get punted by half the field. So that will be very interesting to keep a note on. Another thing to look out for with the pop and pageantry of Los Angeles. Bright lights, big Coliseum. You know what? It can't be any better of a stage for the entire field to hate somebody.
Well, I mean, it's probably the track that resembles Bowman Gray the closest, and we might have some Bowman Gray style racing next week as the 51 should pick up a nice sponsorship from Target, because he's definitely going to have one on the back of his car. So thank you, Tyson, for joining me here tonight. Once again, guys, go follow Limeade Media on Instagram at Limeade Media and their subsidiary accounts at Limeade Film and at Limeade Graphics. And if you're in the North Carolina area, I know a great photographer. So if you message that account on Instagram, might be able to hook yourself up with somebody. So thank you again, Tyson, for joining us here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you around as well here, as I know you've raced a few races, broadcast a few races, and obviously you're an admin of the league, so you'll probably be around. But thank you, Tyson, for joining me here, and from all of us here at WORC TV, we thank you guys for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next